Okay, guys, this is foxgirl reading the Sunrise. You know what it is? There we go. The Sunrise. Here it is. He sees me. Tolly drop her to her hands and knees. She was behind wall of arcade games, trapped in the crawl space between the consoles and the wall. Tangle electricity cords and useless plugs. Oh, this is chapter 1, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Stu beneath her. She was cornered. The only way out was past the thing, and she wasn't fast enough to make it. She could see him stalking back and forth, catching flickers of movement through the gaps between the games. There was scarcely enough room to move, but she tried to crawl backward to a floating caught on the cord. She stopped, contouring herself carefully. She lost it. She heard the clash of metal on metal, and she furthest console rock back against the wall. He hit it again, saddling the display, then attacked the next, crashing against them. Sorry for my horrible reading. My first time reading out loud. Almost rhythmically, tearing through machinery, closing closer. I have to get out. I have to. The panic was of no help. There was no way out. Her arm ached and she wanted to sob loud. Blood soaked through the metallic band-aids, and it seems as though she feel it draining out of her. The console was a few feet away, crashed against the wall, and Charlie France. He was getting closer. She could hear the grinding of gears and the clicking of servos ever louder. Eyes closed, she could still see the way he looked at her. See the matter fall and explodes metal beneath the synchronized flesh. Suddenly the console in front of her was wrenched away. It topped her overthrown like a toy. The power cords beneath her hands and knees were yanked away, and Charlie slipped, almost falling. She caught herself and looked up just in time to see a downward swinging of hook. Welcome to the Hurricane Ethetha Heart. Sorry for butchering the name. Let me Google it. Oh. Utah. Charlie smiled wearily at the sign and kept driving. The road then didn't look any different from one side of the sign to the other, but she felt a nervous impatience as she passed it. She didn't really recognize anything. Then again, she hadn't really experienced to not as far at the edge of town where it was all highway and empty space. She wondered what the others would look like, who they were now. 10 years ago, they'd been best friends, and then it happened, and everything ended. At least for Charlie, she hasn't seen any of them since she was 7 years old. They had written all the time, kids, especially Martha, who wrote Mala, who wrote like she talked fast and interlic, but as they got older, they have grown apart. The letters have grown fewer, and the between fewer and the between in the conversations lead up to this trip. It had previously a 4 awkward pause. Charlie repeat their names, although Chewie tells herself that she still remembered them. Mara, Jessica, Lima, Charlene, Johnny, and Marcel. Marcel was the reason for this trip. After all, it's 10 years since he died. 10 years since it happened. And this parents wanted them all together for dancing ceremony. They wanted all his old friends there. When they announced the scholarships, they were created in his name. Charlie knew it was a good thing to do, but the gatherings still felt slightly miracle. She severed and turned the air down the air conditioning, even though she knew it was not as the cold. She drove into the town center. Charlie began to reorganize things. A few stories in the movies theater, which was now advertised the summer block shows. She felt a brief moment of surprise, then she smiled at herself. What did you expect? All the whole place will be on change. A moment to the moment of your departure frozen Evans July 1985. Well, how long is this top for? There must be sort of like a top of 2 in this somewhere. Oh, here it is. 31. Holy moly. That was exactly what she expected. She looked at herself, watched still a few hours to kill before they meet up. She thought about going to the movies, but she knew what they wanted to do. Charlie made a left turn heading out of town. 10 minutes later, she pulled up to a stop and got out the house room up before her. A dark outline run in the brightest blue sky. Charlie leaned back against the car, slightly dizzy. She took a moment to steady herself with a deep breaths. She knew it would be here. Lilith looked through her aunt's banknotes a few years before had told her that mortgage was paid off and that Aunt Jane was still paying property taxes. It had only been 10 years. There was no reason it should have changed. All Charlie climbed climbed the steps slowly, taking and peeling paint. The third still had the loose board, and the rosebuds still have taken over one side of the porch. The thorns biting hungrily into the wood. The door was locked, but Tolly still had her key. She never actually used it, as she took it from around her neck and slid it into the lock. Remember her father putting its chains around her neck in case if he needed it. Well, she needed it now. The door opened easily, and Tolly looked around. She didn't remember much about the first couple of years, though. She had only been 3 years old, and all the memories had faded together in a blur. Tyler's grief and loss, not understanding why her mother had to go away, clinging to her father every moment, not trusting the world around her, unless he was there, unless she was holding tightly to him, throwing herself in his flannel shorts, and the smell of grease and hot metal in him. The stairs stretched straight up in front of her, but she did not move directly towards them. Instead, she went to the living room, where all the furniture was still in place. She had not really noticed its tile, but the house was a little too large for the furniture. Things were spread out too widely in order to fill the space. The coffee table was too far from the couch to eat. The easily tell too far across the room to carry on a conversation. There was a dark stain on the wooden floorboards near the center of the room. Tolly had stepped around it quickly, went to the kitchen where the cupboards had held only few pots and pans, dishes. Tolly had never thought a lack of anything as a child, but it seems now the unnecessary autonomy of the house was a sort of appetizing and apologizing the attempt of a man who had lost so much to give his daughter what he couldn't always had, a way for doing whatever he did. The last time she was here at the house, it had been dark and everything felt wrong. She carried up the stairs to her bedroom, although she was 7 years old and could have gone quicker on her own 2 feet. But Aunt Jane had stopped on the front porch, picked her up, and carried her, shading her face, although she wore a baby. The glaring sun in her room, and Jane sat Charlie down and closed the bedroom door behind them. She told her to pack her suitcase, and Charlie had cried because all her things never fit into the small case. We can come back for the rest later, and Jane said to her, impatient leaking through as Charlie hovered insistently over at her dresser, trying to decide which t-shirts to bring along. They had never come back for the rest. Charlie marched the stairs, heading to her old bedroom. The door partially cracked as he opened. It had a giggly feeling of disappointment, as although her younger self might be sitting there among her toys, looking up and asking, "Charlie, who are you?" Charlie went in like the rest of the house her bedroom was untouched. The walls were pale pink and ceiling with soft dramatically on one side to follow the line. The roof was painted to match. Her old bed still stood against the wall. Beneath large windows, the mattress was still in contact even though her seats were gone. The window was cracked slightly open, lace curtains wavered gently in the breeze. From outside there was a dark water stain in the paint beneath the window, where the weather had gotten over the years, betraying the house the neck. Charlie climbed. And that will be it for today. Sorry guys.